I'm so tired right now. Yeah, it was because I clicked off the app for a second. I was sharing it with someone. I posted a video saying that I was going live, so maybe that'll help. Because I just put a bunch of For You page like tags on it, so hopefully that'll like get people to see more and then be like, oh, they're going live, yay, you know. Wait, how did you find that I was going live? Like, how did you click on the live stream? Like, does it show up on my channel? Like, I'm trying to figure out how it works. You like clicked on it? Oh, hi! Oh, you're the person that requested your profile picture. Hi, I recognize you. You got the cute kitty one. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Thank you for joining. I'm so glad that finally somebody that isn't Lilac is joining. No offense, but yay! Finally. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention, but like your profile picture is so cute. It's got like a what's the symbol on the forehead of the cat mean? Because I noticed it was like this like weird looking symbol. I was like, what is that? Oh dear. Oh my god. I almost died. I did not almost die. I felt like I almost died. That's not the truth. I just felt. Oh, Therian symbol. Oh, that's cool. You're a Therian. That's cool. I personally am not a Therian, and I'm a little confused about it, but I think it's, I think it's cool that people are doing what they want to do. So, I support. As long as you're having fun, not hurting anyone. So, how is everybody doing? Yeah, everybody, the two people here. How are y'all doing? Aw, kitty, where'd you find that? That's cute. It's good that you're doing good. Yay. Hold on, I'm sorry. I see people standing outside the door. If you guys don't know, I'm filming in public, which makes me very anxious, and I don't like it when people are in the room with me. So if somebody walks in, I have a set up message that I will show on here, and I'm gonna mute myself so that you guys know what's going on, like why I'm muted and why I'm not showing my face, because there's people in the room, and I don't want people maybe talking about private information and then having it be streamed to people that they don't know. And I don't want them showing anybody's faces. I think we're good though. Nobody's standing outside anymore. I don't know why I'm stuttering so much. I'm very high on caffeine right now. Yeah. So, I don't know what to call you, but maybe you can tell me in the chat. But how'd you find the live stream? Did you find it through the video that I posted, or did you just find it like showing up on your recommended? I'm just trying to figure out how it works for people that don't already know. So, I'm writing this book, and oh, you found it on your recommended? Okay, that's good to know. So, okay, that's cool. All right, cool. Thank you for telling me. So I'm writing this book where all the characters are based off of different people that I know in real life. mostly family members. And I was thinking, what if I did a live stream where I read it to whoever's on the live stream? But I don't know. Would you guys be interested in ever watching that? Oh, that was the share, not me, I swear. But yeah, is that something y'all would be interested in, or should I not do that? Because I feel like it could be interesting, but if you aren't there to start with, it would be weird, like what's happening, you know? Okay, well, the answer from you, Lilac, I do respect that answer, but it's from you, and I feel like it's incredibly biased because you know me very well. Okay, that's good to know though.
Hi. I'm gonna get the mail and some paper towels. This is hanging out here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm live right now.
Hi.
My grandmother says hi. Huh?
Who are you live with?
YouTube?
Okay, I'll be back.
Okay, have fun. That was my grandma. I'm at the place where she works. She works at a nature reserve out in Oakland. It's pretty cool here. She's very supportive of the things that I do. Yeah. So okay. So yeah, I don't know where to start talking again. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, dude, should I start reading the book now, or should I do that on a separate live stream? I know, right? She's like, oh wow. She's like the most supportive person you'll ever meet. Like I'm gender fluid, and I told her that, and she was like, oh, okay. So like, what do you go by? And I was like, Jasper. Like, she introduces me to people as Jasper. She tries her best to remember to call me that. Like, she's so sweet. She's amazing. But yeah, should I start reading the book now, or should I save that for another live stream? Separate live streams. Live stream on that. Oh yeah, that does make sense. That makes sense. That's a good idea. I don't even remember what I named this live stream, honestly. Do it? Okay. I'll do it. Okay. How do I change the name of this one though? Because it doesn't I don't think it lets me. Or does it? It's not letting me. Dang it. I'll start reading it though. All right. Let's see. I have it right here in front of me. Okay. So it might be a little bit boring to start. I will warn you that I started writing this when I was 10. I'm 13 now. I'm still writing it. So the writing style changes a lot, and it's not the best in the beginning. It's good, but the writing style is very cringy. So I'll try my best. And there are some pictures that I will show because I drew in it too. But I'm going to start off with one of the things that I wrote in the beginning yesterday that I added to the beginning, so things made more sense. It's the races and statuses of the different races in the book, because it takes place in like a fantasy world, sort of. So races and statuses. Wizards. Unlike most fantasy stories, witches and wizards are not the same. Wizards are the highest level being in the world. There are 6 wizards. They are looked to for guidance and almost seen as gods. The 6 wizards have their own ranks. 1, Wizard of Knowledge. 2, Wizards of Time. 3, Wizards of the Elements. 4, Wizards of the Wild. 5, Wizards of Life. And finally, 6, Wizards of Death. And then we also have elves. Elves are the second highest level beings in this world. There's 1 elf goddess per generation. This goddess is the controller of gnomes and is looked to for spiritual help. Elves are also one of the most common races since witches and elves look almost the same, witches often pretend to be elves. Then we have the hunters. The hunters have no ranking. There is no known facts about the hunters, only myths. Any races named after this have no ranking. Ogres, large and extremely strong. They typically work as butchers, lumberjacks, and animal hunters, not to be confused with V hunters. Goblins, short, fat, and hairy. Although their personalities vary, they're often very grumpy. Their work is often the more dirty work, like farming, fixing things, and cleaning murder scenes. And then we have gnomes. They're simply there just to serve the elf goddess. And then finally, we have witches. Although they're not as dangerous as others, the common people fear them on a deep level. So the Wizards of Knowledge made a law where where if someone sees a witch, they're free to kill them. Witches live in hiding and use spells to dye their hair. The black streak in the front of their hair is the only way, other than catching them using magic, to know if one is a witch. So, like, if you see, like a black streak in the front of their hair, it's like, oh, that's a witch. I'm gonna kill you now. Okay, so we're starting at where I started writing when I was 10. So again, cringe warning. Chapter 1, Angelica's story. Crunch, snap, shuffle. Angelica ran through the woods helplessly crying, burdened with deep bloody scars. Twigs snapping under her feet whilst birds cawed and cooed from the fright. The sun was nearly down and the hunting had just begun. A monstrous scream was followed by stomping, shaking the ground. Angelica's shoeless feet in pain and her calves burning, she stopped. Rifle in hand, she shot the monstrous after-dark creature. Night had fallen and her fears had only just begun to consume her. Sweating and gasping for air, she stood watching the sky. Humidity and heat filled the air. Her torn and muddied dress lifted slightly off the ground with the wind, and her long pink hair did the same. She ran back home, trying to avoid any hunters. Oh, Angelica, you're home. What took so long? Her brother with jet black hair looked up from his book. She smiled, hiding the terror of what had just happened, and acted like the fun-loving goofball they all knew. Sorry, I didn't mean to take so long, but I brought back enough rabbit for us to all eat, she said. She set a large sack of rabbit onto the table and laid down her bow. Oh my goodness, we might even have leftovers tonight. Her elf goddess mother entered the room happily. Erison, go fetch some garlic from the kitchen. Oh my god, I cannot talk. From the garden. Erison sighed and put his book down to go to the garden. Yes, ma'am. A large ogre stepped in the room. What did she bring down? Oh my god, I'm so sorry, guys. What did she bring back this time, Alyssa? He asked the elfish mother. Oh, Orgaric, she brought back so much rabbit, we might even have leftover stew tomorrow, Alyssa cheered, lighting a fire. Orgaric glanced at the table. She used my bow again, didn't she? He grunted, picking it up. Erison and Angelica sat down and watched the Super Bowl as Alyssa cooked dinner. Kids, I told you to stop watching the fruit. You'll melt your brains. Alyssa yelled from the kitchen. Go play with your knives like normal children. Yes, ma'am. They both sighed as they walked away. Angelica sat in her room bored, twiddling her thumbs. She decided to eavesdrop on her parents. Orgaric, I don't know what to do. She's only 9 and the hunters... Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I have it written as 9. The age changed. The character is 12, not 9. So she's only 12 and the hunters already have her on the list. Alyssa's voice spoke. Don't think much of it. Let it be, Orgaric sighed. Shocked, Angelica covered her ears, denying what she'd heard. I can't go with the hunters. I'll die, she cried to herself, her dark purple eyes filled with fear. She stuffed her bags with everything she could fit and jumped out the window. She ran towards the family horse and mounted it. Zloy! The horse galloped. A long and cruel ride was ahead of her. For the love of Jupiter, please don't rain, she shouted. She tucked her hair behind her elven pointed ear at the sight of an after-dark hunter. She drew her... Sorry, I wrote it weird. She drew her bow and shot. The horse continued. Alyssa knocked on Angelica's door. Angelica, dinner is ready. No answer. She opened the door. Angelica? Upon sight of the window open and no Angelica, she could only assume the worst. Oh my Jupiter, she shouted. Angelica tied a rope connected to a pole to Zoe and walked to the door that led to the house of the Smerty family. She knocked on the door. Huh? Angelica? What are you doing here? Lady Millie, the sister of Lady Alyssa, answered the door. The hunters want me, Angelica sighed. Can I stay here for a while? Before Lady Millie could answer, a girl appeared in front of her. No. Temni! Sorry, Angelica. Of course you can stay. Lady Millie gave Temni a dirty look before opening the door. Temni teleported to her room annoyed. I don't know how to pronounce this word. Komnata. There we go. Angelica smiled and hid her terror once again. Sir Gnev, the goblin, looked up from his food. He grunted and continued eating. Chapter 2. She who dies must rise again. Temni's story. A girl with black hair and a blue stripe. Oh! Sorry, I'm being a little stupid right now. I forgot that I have to read it backwards because I set it up weird in this part. Sorry. Let me go back. Okay. Angelica smiled and hid her terror once again. Sir Gnev, the goblin, looked up from his food. He grunted and continued eating. Oh, Angelica, we don't have a room that's able to be used right now. You and Temni will have to share a room, Lady Millie said, leading Angelica to Temni's room. Temni, Angelica has to share a room with you. Lady Millie opened Temni's door. The door led to a dimly lit room with black walls with purple accents. Spellbooks everywhere and displays of wands on the walls. But Mom, Temni started to protest, but Lady Millie interrupted. No buts. She's staying in your room and that's that. She left the room. Hey, roomie. Angelica smiled. Temni grunted in return. Do you have a fruit bowl? Angelica asked. No. We've only got the salad bowl and the potato bowl, Temni sighed, taking off her pointed hat. So, the hunters are after you? She laughed. Angelica gave her a look. Yes, she responded, not finding the humor. It's a dangerous world after dark, you know. Not safe to be traveling this far. Temni glanced at the window. She got up, patting off any visible dirt on her black vest and pants. Anyways, I'm going on a walk out to the potion shop. Temni walked off. This late? Didn't you just say it's... Don't care. Temni slammed the door. Temni slid her dagger into its holster, same with her cherry wood wand, embedded with markings of ancient Roman spells. She slid on her knee-high black leather boots and mounted her broom. Halfway to the shop, she came upon realizing that she was flying over Salem. Panic struck, she flew higher up into the air, trying to avoid the witch-hating town. Her light blue shoulder-length hair flew in the wind. The moonlight calmed her. Under the moon is where she felt the most safe, from angry villagers and hunters ever since her 8th birthday, 5 years ago. Her life was never the same. Temni landed inside a busy village in hopes she would find a potion shop. She looked around, wandering aimlessly until she stumbled upon an empty section of the village. She pulled down her hood. Witch! A man yelled, holding a torch. What? Where? Oh my Jupiter! The black striped hair of Satan! A woman gasped. Temni ran. What does that say? No idea where to go, but she ran. Pine needles and twigs snapped under her feet. Her gray eyes filled with tears. Flashbacks from her 8th birthday came. She grabbed her broom and jumped on. And then, there we go. Okay. She flew up as high as possible, catching her breath. Flying home empty-handed was shameful, but necessary. What's the matter? Too many torches for you? A voice laughed. Huh? Temni looked around for another person. Nobody. Can't see me? Good. I'm your evil personality that you hide away like I'm a monster, the voice continued. Something felt heavy on the other side of the room. Temni looked beside her, only to see herself, but different. Chapter 2. She who dies must rise again. Temni's story. A girl with black hair and a blue stripe in it sat with Temni. The girl wore a white cloak with a white dress instead of a dagger. She carried a sword. Who are you? Temni stuttered in fear. Oh, me? I'm just that little voice that tells you to do bad things, the girl giggled. And now I'm here to stay. Bye. She pushed Temni off the broom, leaving her to fall to her death. Temni couldn't move. She was shocked. She was too shocked to cast a spell to stop this. How did this happen? She hit the floor as her breath fell short. Blood spilled from the wound of a stick piercing through her hand. This is a flashback. Happy birthday, my little Temni, her mother called out, patting Temni's head. Thanks, Mom. Temni smiled with an innocence that she had when she was 8. Her goblin father walked into the room full of relatives and close friends from the village nearby. Little Temni twirled her blue hair excitedly. It's your 8th birthday. You know what that means, her father smiled, holding a box. Box of choosing, Temni exclaimed. Sir Gnev opened the box and put a powder in it, then closed it once again. He set it on the table. What the heck? He set it on the table as little Temni put her hand on it. The box of choosing was a magical box that each child on their 8th birthday must use. The box chooses what your life will lead to and what you'll be. It turns red once it's done choosing. When you open it, it will have the beginning supplies for your new life and career. The box turned red. She took her small hand off the box and opened it. A black knee-length dress with black boots and a pointed hat laid inside. A stick and a broom accompanied the black clothing. Temni took everything out of the box and looked at the bottom. The bottom of the box read witch. Witch? Temni questioned. Everybody gasped, except for her parents. Temni, a streak of black is in your hair. It's official. You're a witch. Lady Millie smiled. We know this would happen, so we went ahead and got you familiar. Sir Gnev handed Temni a snake, jet black. Thank you, she smiled. End of flashback. Let me check my battery. My battery's at 12%, and I don't have my charger on me, so if the stream ends, then my battery died. Okay. Anyways, end of flashback. Tears filled her eyes as this memory replayed in her mind, her consciousness slowly going away. Temni number 2 landed at the house and entered. Temni, your hair is different? Angelica questioned. Temni number 2 panicked. New spell? She struggled. Oh, cool, Angelica smiled. She also forced a smile. Knock, knock. A noise came from the front door. Angelica, please get the door, Lady Millie called from the living room. Angelica opened the door only to see Lady Alyssa. Mom? She questioned, shocked. Angelica, you're coming with me, now, she said coldly, gripping Angelica's hand while tugging her away. But Mom... No, Lady Alyssa tugged her daughter away into the forest. But the horse... No need for the horse, Alyssa said sternly. They reached the center of the forest, dimly lit by candles and torches. A few people in robes were there too. Where are we? Angelica yelled. Lady Alyssa shoved her towards one of the robed people. Mom, what are you doing? Angelica cried in fear. I'm sorry, but it's the only way the hunters will leave me alone. I'll tell your brother you love him, and your father, I suppose I'll say the same. Angelica cried, being grasped by a man in a robe. Mom, you don't have to do this. Oh, but I do. Lady Alyssa smiled evilly, and left the scene. Angelica let out a bone-chilling scream. That's the end of that chapter. And then I drew a little picture at the end. This is from when I was like 11. It's not very good, but whatever. Yes. And chapter 3, Escape from Terror. The robed man turned her crying face towards his, grasping her by the shoulders. A horrifying, raspy voice was released from the shadows of the cloak. Come, be one with Jupiter. Leaves crunching under her feet. Thank you guys. Leaves crunching under their feet. These demon-like people danced around her. No, no, Angelica shouted, her eyes filling with tears. The man pulled her arms behind her back, then wrapped her wrists in rope. She struggled and tugged, trying to escape. Her knees bled as she fell. Weeping, another man stepped on her head and pressed it down harshly on the leaf-encrusted ground. Suddenly, a strong power ran through her, as if she had suddenly gained more strength. Her muscles bulged as she realized what was happening. May the strength of my ogre's genes help me, and the Lord Jupiter guide me. She mightily pushed the man off of her and ran as fast as possible. Sweat dripped down her face. Her lungs felt weak. She could feel the humid air beat against her face as she ran through the dark forest. Then suddenly, God, I'm so sorry. Angelica realized who she ran into. Mom? She looked up at her mother's kind face. Why are you doing this? Her eyes filled with tears. Lady Alyssa placed her hand on her young daughter's cheek. Honey, why are you upset? Her hand felt odd. Her hand wasn't a hand. Maggots? Angelica tugged herself away from her imposter of a mother. Sweetheart, what's the rush? The imposter's voice slowly deepened as her body presumed to the shape-shifting maggots it was. All of the air left Angelica's lungs and no longer returned. She couldn't move. Frozen, she stared at the pile of maggots that squirmed and wiggled on the ground. Astounded, she could only wonder if her mother was even real the entire time. The wind blew harshly, carrying her back to reality. She took a deep breath and one last look at the maggots and ran. Temni laid on the ground, slowly regaining consciousness. She held her... Oh, by the way, this is switching parts of the story. Sorry. It's, weird when you're reading out loud and you can't, see what's going on the page that indicates things. Sorry, just letting you know. Temni laid on the ground, slowly regaining consciousness. She held her hand to her head, a pounding headache forcing her to get up quicker. She turned to each side of her to find nothing. No broom, no bags, no lantern. Nothing. It was here. She scowled. Wait, no, sorry, I misread this. It was her. She scowled, remembering the previous events. She stood up, a bit wobbly, but fine, and began her journey back home. Okay, this part is starting. I was writing this next part recently because I found this and I was like, oh, I'm going to continue writing this. So this is recent, so it's a lot better. Crunch, 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 step. The real Temni stepped on the front porch and knocked. A short, fat goblin opened the door, holding a bottle of ale. Temni? He questioned, shocked. The one and only, she responded awkwardly, taking a step in. The goblin stepped aside, still shocked. Where's Mom? In bed, he grumbled. Already? It's only 8:30, she questioned. Yeah, well, it's been a long night. You should, go to bed. The goblin, Sir Nev, shuffled his way to his room after taking his last sip of his ale. Confused, Temni walked to her room, hoping the worst she could walk into was Angelica sleeping. She opened her door confidently, only to see something far worse than her cousin existing. It was herself. I have another picture that I drew, which is another recent one. That's Temni's evil twin that they were showing in the book earlier. Back to the story. It was herself. There sat Temni on the dark velvet that covered a large cushiony mattress, only something was different. Instead of having teal hair with a black streak in the front, she bore black hair with a teal streak. Her black vest was now buttoned rather than being left open in a quiet way of defiancy. The most villagers... Oh my god, I cannot read. I'm so sorry. Her black vest was now buttoned rather than being left open in a quiet form of defiancy that most villagers never noticed. The original Temni stood in the doorway, not sure what to make of the situation, while the opposite Temni sat and waved with a menacing grin. You, Temni struggled to say as she took a step forward. You, the opposite responded with a giggle. You don't belong here. You're not supposed to exist, Temni shouted to her careless twin. But I do exist, and Jupiter doesn't make mistakes. Now does he? She grinned. You of all people should know that I don't believe in that crap, she scowled. Does that really matter, though? I'm here, and I ain't here to talk philosophy. She stood up, inching towards the original Temni. Then Why are you here? Remember when we were 8? Remember when you abandoned me? The opposite's face fell to a pout, rather than a previous grin. No, I don't know what you're talking about, Temni stuttered. Aw, don't go lying now. That's my job. You're not trying to replace me again, are you? Her voice became serious for a moment. Replace you? Again? How could I replace you when you're not real? And there's another picture at the bottom of the page. Continuing. I don't know. How could I come from your mind if you're so sure you're not crazy? The opposite asked, just inches away from Temni's face. I'm Temni backed away. I'm not crazy. She began to reach for her dagger. If you're not crazy, then where did I come from? I know where, but do you? I come from your deepest, darkest fears. I am the feelings you push away. I am your hatred. I am your anxiety. The opposite laughed. I'm the one who forced away your childhood. I forced you to be the adult when no one else would. I am your toxicity that you hide so well, acting as if I'm nothing but a small front, but in reality, I am so much bigger. I am your truth. No, Temni couldn't take it. She drew her dagger and lunged towards the opposite and stabbed. Out of breath, Temni fell to her knees, waiting for the opposite to leave. Die. Vanish. Nothing. Where is it? Oh my god. Oh, the opposite stood confidently in front of Temni with a smirk. She did not wince. She did not bleed. She stood. Temni looked at her confused. Why aren't you dead? Her eyes began to water, not from sadness, but from exhaustion. How can I die? I thought I wasn't real. The opposite finished as she burst into a cloud of smoke, finally disappearing. Temni stood up weakly, immediately collapsing onto her bed. And now this is a break after, and then, everyone, wake up! Angelica screamed as she rushed into the house of the Smarties. Lady Millie immediately rushed out of her room, while tired Sir Nev slowly followed behind. What's wrong? Get Temni, all of your stuff. No, what you care about. We need to leave, now, Angelica shouted, hysterically. What? Why? What's going on? Sir Nev asked as Lady Millie hugged Angelica. Where is it? Oh, the hunters. They know where I am. Temni tiredly made her way to the commotion, wearing a large sweater and some socks. She stood next to Sir Nev, watching everything unravel. The hunters? Lady Millie thought for a moment. You better leave, but Nev and I cannot leave this house alone. There's so many valuable things that can't be put into the wrong hands, but you'll need company and someone to protect you. She looked to Temni, who had a very unamused face as she made a pot of coffee. Temni, Lady Millie suggested. What? What did I do? Angelica needs you to accompany her while she waits for the hunters to leave her alone. Temni stopped what she was doing to look at poor 12-year-old Angelica. She sighed, looking down back at the coffee. Jupiter, what have you gotten yourself into? Whatever, I'll go. She poured her coffee and walked away. Let me get my stuff and get dressed. Thank you. Chapter 4, Getting Along. The leaves crunched beneath their feet as Temni and Angelica walked. There was an awkward silence between them during the trip. Temni stopped and lowered the lantern to her side. Where are we even going? She sighed. I'm not sure, Angelica guiltily muttered. Temni rolled her eyes and scoffed and continued walking, holding the lantern up to light their path. The awkward silence carried on as the two wandered aimlessly. They both knew they'd have to get along eventually, but with one who's stubborn and hot-headed and the other scared to upset the hothead, it was a challenge. Angelica took a deep breath and stopped walking. I'm sorry. It took Temni a couple of yards more of walking before she noticed that Angelica had even stopped. She turned her head to respond, but she wasn't sure how. Don't apologize. But I dragged you out of here for my own protection, not even considering what you had going on, she thought for a moment. You can go back if you. No. Temni cut her off. She didn't want Angelica to get her to spill anything about the opposite. I don't have anything going on. Let's keep going and keep your mouth shut unless it's important. Temni mounted her broom low to the ground and hung the lantern on the end. Angelica began to get onto the broom. Then Temni pushed her off. Here's another drawing. And continuing. Angelica stumbled backwards. What the heck, Temni? I thought we were starting to get along, she shouted. What did I say about your mouth? Keep it shut. Angelica annoyedly mumbled. Temni flew low to the ground while Angelica followed. She sighed. Finally, morning came. They were both exhausted from exploring all night. Then they found it. Is that a village? Angelica asked, perking up a bit. It is, isn't it? Temni replied as she ran her fingers through her hair, casting some sort of spell to get rid of the black streak. She then placed her wand in her bag. She glanced down towards Angelica. You need a disguise. The hunters know what you look like. Temni knelt down to Angelica's eye level and used a spell to make Angelica's hair black. That should be okay for now. They entered the busy town. The dry dirt streets were crowded with people, and since the shops were so busy, yoink! Temni grabbed a handheld-sized bread loaf and split it between her and Angelica. They ate as they walked. Angelica chewed on a bite of bread and swallowed. Hey, Temni, I gotta use the bathroom, she muttered. Temni sighed and glanced around. Follow me. She led Angelica to a potion shop. The shop was dark and built with moist stone. The inside was colder than the outside. Angelica entered the restroom while Temni stayed in the shop, examining everything from the soft green moss that covered the cracks to the enchanting hues of the many potions that sat on tall, dark oak shelves with small golden detailing. Temni turned to face the shopkeeper at the back of the shop, who read a book. Temni discreetly studied the shopkeeper from a distance. She was quite lovely in the eyes of Temni. Her skin was a tan golden type of color, and on her neck and shoulder she had a large dark birthmark. Her ears were pointed and held beautiful golden jewelry. She wore a subtly purple dress, so light of a shade it could almost pass for white. Its sleeves were about the width of a thumb and hung off her shoulders. Since she was sitting, the counter blocked Temni's view from the rest of the dress, but from the way it wrinkled towards the waist, it seemed like she could possibly be wearing a belt. A belt with a dress? Temni thought. These townspeople, they've got some weird fashion. She continued to examine the girl. Her attention was drawn back to the shopkeeper's face. Her face was an oval shape, and her smile was quite beautiful. Her hair was curly and voluminous. It was